Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I thought it would be fun to show you guys how I make some fish and leek empanadas. Yeah, it's a really nostalgic food for me. I grew up eating them all throughout childhood because my grandfather actually used to own a food truck, and it was my mom's job to make sweet empanadas. She would make them with some pineapple filling, and then she would sprinkle it with some sugar on top, and they were so delicious. The dough recipe is actually a recipe my mother gave me. I'm not sure if she found it somewhere or if she made some alterations, but yeah, it's a great recipe because it works for both sweet and savory variations. So today I'm gonna make some using some canned fish and whatever else I have in my pantry. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to show you guys how I make these. Okay, so I've already added 2 cups of flour in this bowl. Now I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar. So I've pre-cubed 8 tablespoons of butter. You want to make sure it's really, really cold. And now I'm gonna kind of work it in until it's about pea-sized amount. You don't want to overwork it because the dough will turn out tough. But yeah, I kind of just squeeze it in between my fingers. And you kind of want to work fast so that the butter doesn't warm up too much in your hands. And if it does warm up, you can always just pop it into the fridge for a few minutes. So now the butter has been incorporated into the flour, and I'm starting to see pieces that are about pea-sized amount. I popped this water in the freezer for a few minutes, so now I'm just going to incorporate it into the dough. You want to make sure it's really, really cold, and you're just going to work it into the dough. Okay, so now that my dough is chilling in the fridge, I thought it would be a good time to start on the filling. I'm now gonna wash and cut up my leek and show you how I make it. And I'm just gonna cut them into thin-ish slices. But this part doesn't have to be too precise. If you don't have a leek or something, you could use a red onion, you could use yellow onion, you could use shallots. Basically just try and make it with anything you have. I'm also going to add some garlic now. I'm just going to cut it very thin. I like a lot of garlic, so I'm going to use maybe 3 or 4. But if you don't like it as garlicky, you can just add 1 if you want. Normally it just slides off like that. I cut the garlic in thin slices. I went in my fridge to find what other things I could add, and I found some Mama Lil's peppers. Basically just pickled peppers in oil. They're so delicious. And I also found some roasted bell peppers that I want to use up. So I think I'm going to use some of that and maybe some bay leaves and some tomato paste. I turn on my pan on medium heat, and now I'm just going to drizzle it with some olive oil, leeks, and my garlic as well. And right away I'm going to add some salt. And I'm also going to add some pepper. I'm just going to cook this for a few minutes, and once it starts sizzling a bit more, I'm going to go ahead and cover it so that the steam finishes off the cooking process. It's been a few minutes now, and I'm going to cover it and kind of check it every few minutes. It's been a few minutes, and I'm actually going to lower this a little bit. But yeah, they're starting to soften. I can see them browning a bit. They're looking really good. I'm just gonna cook them a little bit longer. At this point, I'm gonna add some bay leaves. Roasted peppers and the spicy ones. Just gonna pop them in. Okay, so now I'm gonna add the tomato paste. I like to add a tiny more olive oil, just a bit, so that it fries. And I'm just gonna use some concentrated tomato paste. And I don't really measure, maybe like a tablespoon or so. And I'm just gonna stir it constantly because it can burn quickly. I've drained my tuna and now it's time to add the tuna. Adding 2 cans. I'm just gonna add a little bit more pepper. And I'm actually gonna taste it for salt before adding more. It's really good actually. I don't think it needs any more salt. I'm now going to turn it off the heat and let it cool before assembling the empanada. Okay, so my dough has been chilling in the fridge for a couple hours now. I'm preheating my oven to 400 degrees. So while that heats up, I'm going to start rolling out the dough and forming the little circles so that I can start building the empanadas. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour onto the counter so it doesn't stick. And try to roll this out evenly. So I'm going to make a little ball out of it. And just start to slowly make it flat. And start rolling it out. And every time I roll, I like to slightly turn my dough so that it rolls a little bit more evenly. So yeah, just lifting it and feeling it on top to see what side's thicker. So this feels about right now. Ideally you'd want a round, I guess, cookie cutter, but I don't have one. So I'm just using this little pie dish that I have. I'm just gonna start cutting through. You just wanna push it down gently and maybe twist it a little bit. And yeah, I'm just gonna cut as many pieces as I can. I want to carefully take off the excess. And we'll use this scrap for later when we roll it out again. I like to roll it in an oval shape because it makes it easier to fold the empanada and so that all the filling stays in. And then I have my filling here. I'm just gonna scoop up some filling and place it right in the middle. Like that. I have a little cup of just water here. I like to just use my finger and just apply a tiny amount on the outer rim so that it helps it seal. And then I carefully just fold it over like that. And then using my fingers, I gently press the corners down. And I make sure that there's no holes in there. For extra sealage, I like to go in with a fork and I just gently, you don't want to press all the way down to the table, just gently press it so that it's nice and sealed. Yeah, and that's how it should come out. Now I'm just gonna let these sit on a tray with some parchment paper while I finish the rest, and then I'll show you the next step. To make the empanadas shiny, I'm gonna go ahead and top it with an egg. So I'm just gonna crack it in a bowl and scramble it. Oh, before I forget, I'm gonna poke a hole right in the middle of each one so that the steam can come out. I'm gonna top each one off with a tiny bit of meldon. I just like adding salt on top of them because I think it looks pretty and also tastes really good. So I just popped the empanadas in the oven and I'm gonna probably check them around the halfway point, so about 15 minutes. I also like to flip the tray so that they cook and brown evenly, so yeah, I'll check back in 15. Pretty happy with the color. They're nice and brown. Now I'm gonna just let them sit maybe for 15-ish minutes because they're really hot, and then I'm gonna transfer them onto a cooling rack. You can see all of the little layers in there. I'm pretty happy with this actually. Still pretty warm, but let's try it. So good. The crust is just so rich and salty. You could really taste the butter. And it contrasts really beautifully with the inside, which is a bit more on the acidic side because of the spicy peppers we put, but also the tomato paste that we put in there. The leek is just so delicious. It's the most pronounced flavor coming through, but yeah, I love these so much. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys give this a try and let me know if you change up the filling. Also, if you grew up eating empanadas, I'd love to know what kind you had growing up. And yeah, anyway, thank you so much and I'll see you next week.